Okay, so I was gonna film outside, but the construction and the cicadas are louder than I think I know how to be. So we're back in here, but I did try. It would be nice to be outside. I printed out my little notes and everything, but here we are. I'm still waiting for things to get easier, for some opportunity to fall in my lap, for a grand realization that's gonna give me the motivation to change and grow and take control of my life. But I'm well into my 20s and that still hasn't happened yet. Instead, it feels like life happens at me. Life steamrolls over me, and I let it. To be fair, I do have some solid excuses. I had a traumatic childhood, I am disabled, I have OCD, I am autistic, which I didn't figure out until I was an adult, so that's been a lot to process and learn to live with, you know? These things do make life difficult, and accepting them has allowed me to take much better care of my brain and body. But for me, it's also caused the line between self-care and a sort of learned helplessness to start to blur. This isn't a grind set, just work harder video, and I'm not here to fix or cure those things for myself or for anyone else. But as we slip further and further into this feeling of doom, I need to remind myself of the importance of trying, of growing and pushing myself, of making art and creating things, even when the world is on fire and it feels futile to care about anything at all. To rein things in a little bit and keep things on track, I'm gonna split this video into 3 parts. Part 1, why it's hard to try. Part 2, why it's important to keep trying anyway. And part 3, how I'm trying right now. I'm not sure if you've seen the news or looked outside or someone existing in or being impacted by the United States of America right now, but it's tough out here, to say the absolute least. As a white person, I am not and have never been in immediate danger here, and that is a privilege, but I am queer, disabled, and low income, so I don't exactly feel safe and secure either. I feel like even if you're as neurotypical and well-adjusted as they come, it's hard to function amongst all the horrors that are occurring right now, especially if those horrors are already directly impacting you. So if you then add in a whole slew of personal problems and barriers, it can feel almost impossible to do anything right now. For example, because of my specific concoction, I can't work a full-time job, do a normal workout without injuring myself, and most days I need to take a nap in the afternoon if I want to get anything done. So I work part-time when I can and pursue creative paths from home when I can't. I go on a walk every morning, even though it never feels like enough, and I take a nap even when I don't want to. These are things I'm still insecure about, and I'm extremely privileged to have a partner that can help support me, so I'm able to put these accommodations and boundaries in place to maintain some semblance of health. Aside from the more physical aspects, I also struggle with things like focus, motivation, and transitioning between tasks. I've got an inherent aversion to authority even when that authority is me, and like most people, I'm a big procrastinator and perfectionist. This is tough when it comes to traditional work and chores, but I find it mostly interferes with creative projects and pursuits. My nervous system refuses to distinguish between fear and excitement, so even when I do get a burst of motivation for something, I get way too overwhelmed and end up doing anything else because I feel so unsafe. Or if I am able to jump on that motivation and use it, I end up hyper-focusing and burning myself out, which just makes me more afraid to get excited about anything again, because it also means I'll forget to eat, drink, or sometimes move for hours on end. These are things I think I can work on. I know I can. My barriers are valid and real, and I might not ever function normally, but who I am right now doesn't need to be who I am forever. Self-care doesn't mean giving up when things get hard. And I know I need to find a way to learn the difference between being unsafe and being uncomfortable. And potentially more importantly, I need to remember why that's even worth striving for.
The first rule of existence is as above, so below. People are fractal images of the universe. You are as we are. Bad things happen to good people because things happen all the time, and it is up to people to determine whether they are bad or good. In the same way that your heart feels and your mind thinks, you, mortal beings, are the instrument by which the universe cares. If you choose to care, then the universe cares. And if you don't, then it doesn't.
I care.
I grew up Catholic. First communion, confirmation, Bible camp, the whole thing. I even went to Catholic school for a little while. Religion brought me a lot of comfort and a lot of answers. Well, it tried. I'm no longer Catholic or even a Christian for a multitude of reasons, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm starting to find those answers elsewhere. Like a D&D show on Dropout, apparently. Turns out most of these answers are just reiterating that there is no answer and that this is all just chaos and nothing matters unless we make it matter. If you would have told me that a few years ago, it would have sent me into an existential spiral, but lately I'm finding it quite comforting. We're living in a time of a lot of hate, division, and unknowns, and if you're someone who still connects with a higher power and finds comfort in that, that's wonderful, genuinely. But I think it's worth it to put a little bit of that hope and a little bit of that faith into ourselves and into other people. To an extent, no matter our situation, we still have the ability to shape our realities. If we believe everything is hopeless, we're powerless, and nothing matters, then that's true. But to quote Struthless,
if we think the spirit of this place is dead, then it is. But if we think the spirit of this place is alive, then it also is. The internet can usher in a new era of optimism. And I mean like a really anti-establishment sense of optimism, because who benefits when you feel hopeless? It ain't you. It's whoever gets your money, man. Call it the media, the government, some freaking budding cult leader. They all benefit when you feel hopeless. It's people who either want to maintain the status quo or want power over you, or have found ways to monetize your despair.
But that also means we have the power to do the opposite, to believe the opposite, to hope, to try. This is a hard video for me to make because if I'm being honest, I don't feel super hopeful right now. I'm scared and overwhelmed by the world and society at large, but on a smaller scale, I also keep missing deadlines I set for myself, which is chipping away at my already low self-worth and self-trust. So, am I incapable? Am I gonna feel like this forever? Would it be easier to just stop? Yeah, probably, but I don't think that's what I want. Not really. I've tried a lot of things. Different jobs, career paths, medications, productivity hacks, and on my worst days it feels like that was all for nothing. Like I'll be 30 before I know it, and what do I have to show for it? But I know I've learned at least a little bit from each thing, even if it was just that I don't want to do that thing, or that nothing really works forever. But I'm grateful that it brought me forward, even if it didn't feel like it was at the time, even if it still doesn't. Because sometimes it's hard to remember the things that you have to be grateful for, the things that you have accomplished. And sometimes wallowing in doom and self-hatred is just another excuse to stop caring, to stop trying, to stop hoping. And sometimes that's okay. Feel those feelings, listen to them, but do not let them overtake you. At least not for too long. I know there's not a ton I can do to control what's going on in the world right now, but I'm doing my best to stay informed, speak out on important issues, and get involved in local politics and mutual aid. I'm also trying to rebuild a sense of self-trust. I'm trying to show up for myself and my projects and follow through on things that I say I'm going to do. And when I don't, hold myself accountable in ways that are productive and not just full of shame and self-hatred. I don't have this all figured out yet, so I can't leave you with some sage advice or wisdom. But me making this video, and maybe you watching it, is proof, is a promise to myself and yourself that we're going to keep trying. Okay, I'm not sure if that counts as rating myself in, but I did leave out everything I wanted to say about AI and convenience culture and how not everything needs to be easier or automated. And I have social anxiety, but I'd rather practice talking to strangers than lose all sense of humanity and community, because all that's going to do is further isolate and divide us, and that's sort of the problem right now. But that's all I have to say on that, and that's kind of not the point, so I'll leave it there. If you're at all interested in a sort of physical copy of this video, I'm currently working on an updated version of this zine called Why But Also Hello, which is kind of just my ramblings on existentialism. This version, the short one, 8 pages, is currently available in our online shop, which I'll link down below. But be sure to subscribe here, follow us on Instagram to see updates for the longer version. This one ends with a sort of further watching, reading, and listening list, which I'll probably put in the description because a lot of them are pretty relevant to what I'm talking about here as well. But thank you so much for watching. If you are trying or have any tips on trying, please comment them down below. I'd love to hear them and share them with other people. I hope you're doing all right, but it's totally understandable if you're not. Good or bad, we can't predict the future. All we can do is give ourselves our best shot.